We gotta fix the freeze plug in the Firebird today. That means we're gonna have to move that motor out, get back in there behind that head, and put a new freeze plug in. It ain't gonna be easy, but I think we might have some help coming in from out of town. So let's stop all this yip yapping, and let's get to turning some wrenches, and let's get into another Firebird Friday.
Well, we're back at it, and we're going to get to that freeze plug on the back side of the driver's side head. Rusted out. We need to replace it. We were going to put one of those rubber temporaries in there, but I couldn't even get the old one to come out without removing the motor. So I had a couple of buddies of mine who are from Georgia who were passing through town. They're big truck drivers, and they wanted to get their hands dirty. They had a couple hours to burn before they could pick up their next load. So Andy and Andy came on over to the house, and we began the process of pulling the motor. It's kind of nice for me just to kick back with a cold drink and watch other people do a little bit of work on the old fire chicken here. This car has become almost like a community project. I think I've had all my kids work on this car. I've had neighbors, friends of the family. It's a pretty cool idea to see all these people come together and just give a little bit here and there to make this car once again run. So Andy and Andy here are pulling off the radiator shroud. Get all that core support out of the way. Then we'll lift it and we'll move it. Fun times, and it was 115 degrees the day we were doing this. Grab that cherry picker, we'll swing it on over here. Go ahead and pick up this poncho motor, get it into place. This was the first time for Andy, my friend there with the bald head and glasses. He's married to my good friend Timber. For him to pull the motor out of a car and put it back in, and it runs in one day. So I told him he's part of that elite group of people who can do such a task. So we got it up and out. All we want to do is just pull it back far enough to where we could get to that freeze plug and pull that thing out. We had tried pulling it out with a seal puller. We tried doing the old screwdriver and hammer bit, but being it so close to that block, we just could not get to it. So engine slid out just enough, and Andy was able to go in with a hammer and chisel and get in there and get that thing to fold over and hold on to it and grab it and pull it out so we could do some work to it. Interesting thing though, we ran to several of the what we call flaps, auto parts stores around town here to try to find a freeze plug to put in there, and every shop wanted to know, of course, you know, they want to know the year and the make and the model of the car and size of the motor and blah blah blah, and they kept giving us the wrong size freeze plugs. So eventually, once we pulled it out, we cleaned that hole up. We took what was left of that freeze plug to the auto parts store, and we grabbed a freeze plug that worked. Wasn't exactly the same depth, but it was the same outside diameter that we needed to fill that hole up.
Okay, we're going to find out which socket's going to fit. Winner, chicken dinner. Alright, that's going to be the one. This is our old one we got out. You can see pretty gnarly there. Focus. Alright, let's get a new one in. Let's do it, Andy.
And with that, Andy got a socket about the right size, and we just tapped that new freeze plug right into place. Of course, you know, we're feeling pretty good about ourselves right now. We've pulled this engine out with hardly any problem. We got the new freeze plug in there, made sure it was set properly. We were good to go. So back in the engine goes. And of course, mayhem. We kept knocking the camera off the car every time we hit the firewall with the backside of the motor. It was pretty funny. And then here's Andy trying to be muscle man and single-handedly push that poncho motor back down to where it belongs. And of course, the camera falls again. It was an ongoing struggle. All right, we finally got to a point where we could line up those motor mounts and get those attached in. And I have to admit, the first time I put this poncho motor in, I did it by myself. But having Andy here to help me out definitely made it easier, faster, and I do appreciate him taking some time to stop by while he was in town to help me get this all together. So there's Andy putting in those last engine bolt mounts right there. Next, go ahead and take off the plate, lift plate on that. Telling Andy here to grab that carburetor and let's mount her up. And with that, clean off that gasket right there. Need to replace the gasket. It's on the list, guys. Don't flame me for that one. Down the carburetor came, got it back down and locked in. Alright, next, put the radiator support back in its place, hooking up all those hoses. And you got the bottom one in place. Went ahead and did the top one. Working together here, pulling this together. Next, Andy took the water hose because we're still trying to make sure everything's running right. Went ahead and fill that up with some water before we do our restart. And with that, it was time to get this engine to run. But it wouldn't run. It would start fire, but stumble. Double check on my wiring. Everything was hooked up exactly the same. We made sure we had the key on the dash turned on, and it still would not start and run. So we called Dr. Firebird, John from Vinyl Village Garage, to help us out.
Hey, John, it's Brian.
Hey, what? Hey, dude.
I need you to get out Dr. Firebird.
I think I can help you out with that. What's happening?
So we pulled the motor in the Firebird, we replaced the freeze plug, Andy, my buddy from Georgia, and we got the freeze plug back in, a new one in, engine back in the car. Everything's hooked up just like we had it before when it was running.
Right.
But now she won't stay running. She'll crank, she'll fire, but not run.
Right. Got it. Well, I guess first thing I'll probably check, make sure you still have power to the ignition coil in the running position. Are you using the key to start it?
No, we're using a test trigger.
Okay, and when you push the test trigger, it fires and the city still have the trigger installs, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I would check and make sure you have continuous voltage to the coil with the key turned on. My guess is if you got that wire from the starter to the coil that has current when cranking, and when you let off the push button, you no longer have power to the coil. So it's pretty simple. Check, turn your ignition on, and then check
it off right
at the coil.
Okay, so ignition is off now, and I have a positive onto the positive side of the coil of a voltmeter, and then I have a negative to a ground.
Okay, there should be nothing there. Now you see key is off.
The key is off, there's no voltage.
Okay, now
The
turn
key
the
on, still
on,
nothing.
run
There's no power to the switch.
Okay, the key on,
Key's on, no power.
and no power to switch.
Yeah, I would say you can run a jumper wire from the battery to your coil, and it would probably light off and run. But to shut it off, just pull that wire off.
Okay, well, I tell you what, we're going to try that, and we'll let you know how that works.
So they're a great plan. Let me know.
All right, thank you there, Dr. Firebird.
You're welcome, buddy. We'll see you.
All right,
Thanks.
bye. All right, so John from Vinyl Village Garage says try a little hack to see if this thing will run, and I'm down for it. So it's sketchy, but remember we are high-tech rednecks. So from here, grab it in. Okay, we now have power. Make sure you guys can see that. Nope, so try from the trigger.
Alright, and with the motor running, we decided to celebrate with a cold one. Probably the number 3 for the day. Then we started paying attention to our water temp gauge. Didn't see any leaks, started watching that, and then it started to rise. And as it started to rise, we then noticed that under the thermostat housing, we had a leak. Turns out it just wasn't all the way down, so we went ahead and just torqued it down, made sure it was nice and tight. Probably an oversight, but we got that squared away. Then started to go ahead and fire this bad boy back up, add a little bit more water to it for what we lost. Of course, we'll put antifreeze in it when we're all said and done with this project. We fired it up, let it run for a little bit, chit-chatted, kind of cleaned the shop up a bit while we're doing things. No water leaks anywhere, but it just continued to get hot every time. So now we got to find something else to do to figure out what the heck is causing this problem.
Well, Andy and his buddy Andy are gone, but I still got shit to do around here, so we tore up this right here. So I'm gonna have to replace that gasket right there. So I got a new one from the parts store. Let's go ahead and get that done, and then we're gonna test a few things here now. So let's see here. This right here, move that damn thing out of the way here, and move that out of the way. There's our gasket. Let's put our gaskets. Get that lined up. Where the hell are my bolts at? All right, got my bolts. Settle down. They're right here. See if we can get them into place here. Right like that. Alright, let's get these on down. Kind of do it a little bit at a time. Don't get all over beaver here on one side. Alright. A little bit of force there, make sure it's down. Alright, now that's done. Let's check the water. Alright, well, got the gasket on, got the water filled up. Let's see if we can't make her fire off a little bit. Oh, I forgot something. Gotta have that wire on there. Gotta hook up the wire to the coil. The damn ignition switch is not doing so hot. Alright, find the hole. Now I wanted to make sure that radiator was running right. So I did the old towel test on the top. You can see it moving. It's got airflow heading back towards the motor, and paper towel in the front, and it holds it there in place. That tells me that all the coolant parts are in doing their thing and working hard and helping keep things cool. But why is this motor not staying cool? That's the $1 million question. I'm gonna need another beer. Well, as you can see, she's running a little bit hot. That's about 220, if I'd reckon. The damn timing light's not working today. Probably gonna about to buy a new one of those damn things too. And not to mention, got a damn front oil seal leak. And that damn dipstick is leaking like a son of a bitch. I gotta fix a few more things before this hot rod's ready to roll. It's hotter than a son of a bitch out here in Phoenix in the summertime. 1:15 today. Man. Well, this is gonna wrap it up for another Firebird Friday video on the 67 Firebird. But don't worry, next week we're going to work on getting the timing set right, getting that carburetor dialed in, and seeing if we can't take care of a few little them oil leaks and make this kitten purr, make this bird fly one more time. Thank you so much. Don't forget, t-shirts and beer things are in the description down below. Buy some, support the channel, take care of some merchandise, show your support of the channel. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next Friday for another episode of Firebird Fridays. All right.